Okay, vibrations. Let's take a whole nother look at vibrations. So I started looking at this, the whole fallen thing. Any of you heard, oh, we're the fallen beings? I'm going to have a little drink of water here. So I started looking at I used to say, high vibrations create, low vibrations destroy. You guys ever thought like that? Okay, so I used to actually teach that. High vibrations create, low vibrations bad, you know. And then I started to think, wait a minute, for a non-physical being to have mass and physical form, you would actually it would require falling vibrationally to a lower vibration to become mass. So, did we fall vibrationally to have a physical experience? I would say, yes, we did. Yeah, we're the fallen ones. And let's find out. Now, let's think, this is going to create a core shift in your belief about yourself, because I would say this is one of the things we've been programmed on such a deep level in our cell memory, that we are sinful, bad, fallen. We are being punished for this great sin of eating this apple, you know, choosing the knowledge of good and evil. We're bad. And if you think on a core level that you're bad and you've done something wrong, just even think about any time you have to say, I was wrong. It doesn't feel good. Your energy leaks out of you, right? But just on a core level to say, me as a being, I'm wrong. And I was taught by my mother growing up that all these other planets out there, you know, we weren't the only one created. They're watching us. And this was the religious perspective. Because we're the fallen beings, and they're watching us like what not to do. Ooh, look what happens when you sin, you know. And I started to look at that in a new perspective and say, wait a minute, were we cast out? And notice the being with the wings, right? Wouldn't that signify a being that would fly, that would be more in spirit form than mass? And look at this shame and the guilt being cast out. And that's what we've believed about ourselves. Let's switch that core belief and try on a new perspective here. Are we shameful sinners, or are we brave heroes? Are we those beings in all the universes that volunteered to come down, to fall down vibrationally to have this mass experience? And the others are all looking at us like, wow, look what they're doing. And I am noticing, I can see colors and orbs and things, and I've noticed a lot of us are starting to see that more. I see little orbs all around all the time, and I get a sense that they are observing, and they're watching in awe, because this is such an exciting time on the planet. They're watching, they're observing, they're like, wow, look what they're doing here, right? They're not, you know, maybe some of them are going, I'm not brave enough, but I'll watch, you know. So they're watching, and when I see them around, sometimes I'll just every now and then go, yeah, this is how we do it. Yep. And so I feel that shift in my core of we are I look at a complete shift of being more like universal heroes, that we would come here and gather these experiences of being in mass, and they're all learning vicariously through us as they're observing what we're doing. Yep, non-physical observers. Now, this is the journey in whole that I'm seeing here. Because, you know, we started from the middle there, the Merkaba. So let's take it back. And let's take this human experience journey from the two polarities. And now you get a plus and a minus, they'll magnetize towards each other. They're drawn. So in fact, let's look at them like magnets. The two polarities come together, bang. Life is created, the Big Bang. And the female in the beginning here is on top. And as a female energy, in this design, they're magnetically, if you play with magnets, they'll pull together. And that's the feminine energy, the pulling. And then once we hit the Merkaba there in the middle, there's a polarity reverse. So a pole reverse on our Earth. And you know we've had that pole reverse of our planet in the past. And we were matriarchal, and then we switched to patriarchal. So if this magnet kept pulling and came to that polarity switch, and then you kept moving the magnet, it would, once it reached there, it would start to push instead of pull. So after the Merkaba, you see a pushing energy happening, and you can play with magnets and do this. The pushing energy, And now you have the patriarchal, and the male is now on top on this. And then you have February 2011, the power is connected, and December 2012. And I see this as our human journey that we chose here to come experience. And if you look at this dimensionally, chakras, there's a fit with that as well. Now, somebody after I got this, a friend of mine that's seen me working with this over the last couple of years, gave me some information that someone had written about. And I'm not going to name the book, but it was about, the gist of it was unplugging the masculine. And right away I started to go into judgment and go, oh, no, we don't want to unplug. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to be open to, this, there's many versions of truth, and maybe this is truth for this person. And so again, I don't process well through reading at all. And so sometimes I'll just flip something open and see a little something there. So I flipped open to her section where she had this diamond like this. And she said that this is what we want to get to, is this back to this female, this diamond energy. And I just thought, I'm just going to sit with that and feel it, because the strange thing is, I felt truth, and that's how I feel truths in my body, and to me I felt there's some truth there, but yet it appeared to be. Oh, before we go on to that, let's talk about unplugging the masculine. On a battery, if we're trying to plug the feminine back in and bring in the feminine, if we unplug the masculine, is our battery going to work? No, we need both of those plugged in. So we don't want to swing the pendulum the other direction there either. So this diamond on top, the female, and she actually explained that the female was on top, and it was that diamond shape, which is a pulling together energy, and that the men came along and they reversed it, and then they inverted it, so magnetically the polarities would push against each other. And it would keep us more separate and having more polarities instead of that oneness. And I thought, well, gee, it looks like the opposite of what I'm saying. I'm saying this and she's saying that. And I'm like, they seem opposite, but they both feel true in my body. And I'm like, how could that be? So I just sat with that for a while. And I go, oh, they both are true in that if you watch that evolution. Now let's do it this way as we're looking at polarities. See the top and the bottom, the feminine and the masculine coming together. And that what she's talking about there is the feminine's on top. The feminine's the dark, by the way. And we're going to get more into that later too. The feminine on top, okay, yep, the matriarchal, that pulling energy. That is definitely a beautiful energy. And then we went through this whole process. I personally feel if it's someone's truth to go back on their evolutional journey to that, then that's okay. But I really think that we're looking at more of a going through the whole process, and it's going to turn out to something more than just putting making it all about the feminine. I think there's going to be about the two coming together. And so you can see that both of them are all part of that journey. So what's next after this was a question I had for a while. Will they continue to separate, or will they compress back into themselves? And as I asked this question, I was sitting by a pool, and I asked it out loud, because that helps sometimes. I asked it, and I look up, and there's a woman at the pool with a sunburn on her back of the two pyramids, just like this, and they were separated. And I'm all, okay. And I chased her down and took a picture of her back. She's like, okay. So I believe that what happens next will depend on our ability to blend the balance of the polarities. And I heard someone once say that this isn't the first time we've done, and they didn't say it as in this way. I just heard them say that this is our planet's third try at blending the light and the dark. And that was the first time I ever heard anything about what? Blending the light? Isn't it all about the light? And I was just stunned for probably 2 months. Blending, because when you feel something, when I heard that sentence, I went, there's some truth there. And she said, this is our planet's third attempt. And I'm all, wow. Well, then it started to make sense. I'm like, okay, let's play with this. It depends. So I'm feeling it depends on our ability to blend the polarities and balance the polarities. So I'm seeing it more of a balance of bringing the light and the dark together. Now this is where it might shake some of our core belief, because we're very much about the light, 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 right? I've always been thinking that way. So let's just play around with this. So some other possibilities are, there could be 3 choices, where there could be the choice of those who choose to polarize to the light, all the light, the light, the light. And there could be those, and that, by the way, if we polarize to the light, we won't be in physical mass at that point. Because in order to have mass, if you were all light, all high vibration, you would not have physical mass. Or there could be those that choose to polarize to the dark, which would mean that would probably be back to that very dense experiences. And there could be those that choose to do the blend. And let's look at oneness, separativeness, and sameness. There are 3 philosophies. There's people that come in with a philosophy that we're all separate. There's those that come in with a philosophy that we're all one, and those that believe in sameness, that everything's the same. And when I heard those philosophies, and this lady was trying to tell me, which are you? Are you this, this, or that? And I couldn't tell her. And I kept kind of feeling I'm all of those things, because I feel there are times of separateness, times of oneness, and times of sameness. And they're just different experiences. That not one has to be the truth. So what creates or destroys energetically? Remember how I talked about the high and the low vibrations? Let's play around with this. So let's look at high vibration: male, spirit, light, heaven, heat, proton, logic, thought. And the list could go on. You can create your own list on this. And the low vibration: female, mass, low, dark, earth, cold, emotion. And how's that feel for you girls? We're the dark. Look at the yin yang symbol. We're the dark. Some men will agree. But I felt that in my body. I'm like, wait a minute. Isn't the dark a bad thing? And so I started, this was a process for me, believe me, from how I was raised. And I started to go, okay, I'm going to open my mind and look at this in a new way and just play around with it. So maybe it's the polarized version of the dark that we see as the evil, right? It's that whole polarized with no light. And I was thinking maybe it's more about coming together. So let's just play with the light. So let's take some beautiful nature, some creation here, and let's take the light away from it and see what happens. As the light goes, we've that's kind of total destruction there as far as that beautiful piece of nature, right? But let's go back to that and let's take the dark away from it. And what do we have? Oh, now it's destroyed too. I think I started to go, maybe it's polarizing one way or the other that creation disappears. Okay, so whole new challenges your core belief, doesn't it? So the in-between is what I'm getting. It's about balance. It's about bringing the two together. And let's look to nature for this. A pine cone is a good example. A pine cone, the swirls that come up from the earth are the feminine, and they have the swirls that go down from the top, which are the masculine. And wherever those two cross, life is created, a seed. And all throughout nature, when you notice wherever the two polarities cross, there's creation.